are you? So we're just gonna go back to the Twilight Zone because that's where we live now, right? Sure. So I've been watching footage from what's been going on in Portland for the past few weeks now. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it at first because I think I was paying more attention to the Seattle Chop Zone. And there were so many cities where there were rioting and looting and protests, including my own city. Thankfully, it's finally calmed down here. I can go to the store and get cat food without being in the middle of a social revolution, which is very nice. The images you saw of that huge protest in Hollywood came down to my neighborhood one day. It was a Sunday. I literally went out to get cat food and got caught in the middle of 20,000 people. So that's what's been going on in my neighborhood. But thankfully that's calmed down. A city that has not calmed down is Portland. They've had, I believe, like 50 nights in a row of protests. I use that in quotation marks because we'll get into that in a second. Protests and rioting and looting. So I've been watching videos of this for the past few weeks, and Portland looks like an actual war zone. You have the National Guard in buildings telling protesters to stay away, and then they come near and it's the whole thing. It looks like a different country. It looks like Afghanistan. It's insane. So I've been following this for the past few months. And then last night I went on Twitter, and I don't go on Twitter a whole lot. I have an account. I'm not super active on it. I think it's kind of a cesspool, but I like to go on there sometimes to see what's going on. So I go on Twitter, and some of the friends that I've had for a long time ago, like acting buddies or just friends that I used to live in Colorado, friends that I had in Colorado, people that are not super political people, just regular friends that I have. So I happened to see a thread from a friend of mine, a smart guy, older than me, acting buddy, and he was saying something along the lines of, oh my God, I can't believe what's happening in Portland. Why is the National Guard there arresting innocent people? And the thread had about like 20 to 30 comments on it. And I looked down on all the comments and they're like, oh my God, they're arresting innocent people, innocent people, innocent people. And I was a little concerned about that. And I noticed the same thing. We had our worst night of rioting here in LA was March 30th. And I went and helped clean up the day after. There were cars that were burned and abandoned in the middle of the street. Cop cars were burned and abandoned. Dumpsters were set on fire. Buildings were set on fire. Businesses were looted. Innocent people were assaulted. Windows were busted out. Everything was spray painted and tagged. It said, like, kill the pigs, ACAB, F the Pope, like everything you can imagine. And so this all went down May 30th. The next day, so I went to help clean in the morning. The next day, I was talking to a friend of mine and her roommate, like people around my age, smart, college educated, just regular people. And they were saying the same thing about LA. They were like, oh my God, why are they arresting all these why are they bringing in the National Guard? Everyone's peaceful. I don't understand. And I'm like, do you not realize that stuff was burned down and looted? And there was literally an image of a Porsche that was abandoned in the middle of the street. All the windows were busted in, spray painted ACAB on it. And I'm sure that was an innocent person in that car. Cop cars were lit on fire, businesses. What do you mean? Is this the media just not reporting on this? Or is this people not paying attention? Or it has to be the biased media. I don't know. And what was even more concerning to me is I was like, this just happened several blocks from where you live, and you don't understand how dangerous it was. These are criminals. They're not protesters. They're not here because of the peaceful protesters that went home at 4 p.m. They're here because of the people that were out after 4 p.m. all over the city. Hundreds of people, if not thousands. LA, Santa Monica, Hermosa Beach, downtown LA, West Hollywood, Beverly Hills, all hit in one night. And that's just to name a few. They were all over the place. So, and now I'm seeing the same sort of attitude about Portland. And the images I've seen of Portland are not peaceful. There are federal buildings that are being occupied by by the National Guard now to protect them. These buildings have been completely defaced. There have been looting. There have been fires in the middle of the street. Protesters are aggressive towards the police officers, and this has been going on for almost 2 months now. And so they bring in the National Guard, and now people are saying that the National Guard is just unnecessary, and this is just, why are they doing this? This is a dictatorship. And then I can't even tell you how many videos I've seen of protesters, or whatever you want to call them. I don't even know what to call them. Antagonizers, anarchists. I don't know what to call them. They're not protesting. But there seems to be a misconception about what peaceful protesting is. Peaceful protesting is, first of all, not being there after dark when residents in that area are probably at home settled, trying to go to sleep. Maybe they have to work the next day. Who knows? Peaceful protesting, you're not there after dark. You're not spray painting things. You're not busting windows. You're not antagonizing cops. That's not peaceful protesting. And most of the arrests I've seen are arrests that came from police announcing on a speaker, do not come into this area. This area is closed off. You are not allowed to come to this area. And then I see a protester run into that area right in front of cops. They get arrested, and then they cry, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. What is wrong with these people? It's like everyone's trying to be a martyr, or everyone's trying to be brave, or everyone's trying to defy the cops. We have failed our kids if this is how they think that they're supposed to behave. They're acting like children. Time and time again, I have seen protesters just completely get in the face of cops, antagonize them, bully them, and then not follow directions, and then are surprised when they get arrested. And it's, I didn't do anything. And then you always have someone on their phone being like, what's your name? We're going to get out. We're going to get you out. He didn't do anything. Idiots. Idiots. And then there's a federal building in Portland where the National Guard has occupied in order to protect it. And they're telling people, do not come into this building. The officers are inside of the building. They're not outside of the building. They're inside of the building. And they're just saying, do not come near this building. It's at night. They're telling people, don't come near this building. And then what do the people do? They go up to the building, and then they get shocked and surprised and appalled when they get arrested. This is not how you behave. Why are we not telling our young people that compliance is what you need to do? You comply. When an officer tells you to do something, you do it. When a National Guard tells you to do something, you do it. If you feel that it's wrong, you get the badge number and you take it up in court, but you do it. You don't resist. That's setting you up to be unsafe. That's setting the cop up to be unsafe. And that's setting up the people around you to be unsafe. The National Guard are there because the situation is completely out of control. And if it wasn't out of control, why are we seeing images of buildings just completely defaced? That is not peaceful protesting. That is not how you peacefully protest. That is not how you get your message heard. Okay, that's all I have to say about that. I'm going to leave you with a video. This is a police officer in Portland, a black police officer, and he was giving an interview, and the people interviewing him wanted to know what it was like being a black police officer during these protests. And I'm not going to comment on it too much because he does... I'm not the person to comment on this. I just wanted to share with you what he said because I thought it was really interesting, and he made a lot of really good points. And I've seen video after video after video of white people just screaming at black officers, and it's really gross. So this is what he had to say. I hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you very much. Bye.
At the demonstrations. So what was it like in that capacity in the first few weeks when the fence was up around the Justice Center for that RRT response?
I'll say this. I got to see folks that really do want change, like the rest of us, that have been impacted by racism. And then I got to see those people get faded out by people that have no idea what racism is all about, never experienced racism, that don't even know that the tactics that they are using are the same tactics that were used against my people. And they don't even know they don't even know the history. They don't know what they're saying. Coming from someone who graduated from PSU with a history degree, it's actually frightening on how, they say if you don't know your history, you repeat it, and watching people do that to other people just because of what they decide to do with their life.
What are some of those interactions that you're...
So a lot of times someone of color, black, Hispanic, Asian, come up to the fence and directly want to talk to me. Hey, what do you think about George Floyd? What do you think about what happened about this? I go up to the fence, someone white comes up, F the police, don't talk to him. That was the most bizarre thing because I could see it coming. I even had a young African American girl tell me, why is it you guys aren't talking to us? I said, honestly, this is now the 23rd day of doing it. Every time I try to have a conversation with someone that looks like me, someone white comes up and blocks them and tells them not to talk. And then right when I said that, this white girl popped right in front of her. She said, he just said that was going to happen. I said, told you. I told you. She looked at the girl and said, why'd you do that? And I straight up, I said, I've been called the N-word. She's been called the N-word. Why are you talking to me this way? Why do you feel that she can't speak for herself to me? Why is it that you feel you need to speak for her when we're having a conversation? And she couldn't answer my question. All she said was, someone told me to do it. So that has been a very strange thing to watch. I'm cool with, people feeling like they want to help a movement, but then when you go to a gentrified community, and one of the first pictures I saw one of the business that was looted was a black-owned business, I'm like, they're not even from here. They don't even know what they're even doing. So that to me was very angering, watching, a business that was looted, and that business is across the street from a Safeway where before my father became a police officer here in Portland, he worked security at that Safeway. Talk about history and roots. And these folks don't even know what they're even doing. And so it's divisive, it's hurting the community. And I mean, I saw that press conference. Clearly the community was not happy with that. And they even asked for the violence to stop. And they still are coming out and having these violent interactions with other citizens, the police, and at some point you just go, what is the end goal?